Welcome to Beyond the Page, the official podcast of Choice, the magazine of professional coaching, where we bring you amazing insights and in-depth features you just won't find anywhere else. I'm your host, Gary Schleifer, and as always, I'm excited to expand your learning as we dive into the latest article, have a chat with this brilliant author again, thank you very much, and uncover the learnings that are transforming the coaching world. When you get a chance, join our vibrant community of coaching professionals as we explore groundbreaking ideas, share expert tips and techniques, and just make a real difference in our clients' lives because that's what we love to do. Remember, this is your go-to resource for all things coaching. In the meantime, let's dive into today's podcast. In today's episode, I'm speaking with social leadership coach Gloria Custodio, who's the author of an article in our latest issue, The Power of Choice. Her article is entitled Choosing What Matters, Coaching Conversations That Empower Decisions. A little bit about Gloria. She holds a PCC with ICF, is a social leadership coach with a multifaceted career spanning law, business, education, and nonprofit leadership. She's been a federal judicial law clerk, a $1 million retail business owner, a university instructor, a classroom teacher, and a school administrator. As a PCC, she's a trained transformational coach. She helps leaders navigate complexity, drive impact, and lead with purpose. She's passionate about equity, inclusion, and social change. She empowers individuals and organizations to grow and thrive on their own terms. Gloria, thank you so much for joining me again. Welcome back.
Thank you for having me. I'm
So, what
happy to
have
be here.
I am thrilled that you keep writing for us and don't stop. No guarantees every time, but we'll do our best. Um, what called you to write for us this time, this topic of choice?
Well, as you know, because I think we've talked about this before, when I go on your website to look at what's coming up in the articles, and I used to do that before I started writing, by the way, just
Mm,
because this is the way I like to think. I like to think in topics. So I went and I looked at the description for choice and the topic of how people make decisions, particularly in moments when they are stressed. And right now, we are all under
mm,
stress and we feel overwhelmed. And it called to me, how do we, in a coaching conversation, help our clients sort of take steps beyond the overwhelm and the thinking of it's too much, nothing I do matters. How do we get them to see that they do have agency and that what they do day to day actually does make an impact in themselves and each other and therefore in the world?
yeah, a great pointing to what's going on in the world these days and how busy things are. I'm currently working on the chaos issue, and it goes in
Hmm.
line with this choice issue because there are just so many decisions to be made now. And just when you make one decision, something changes, and you have to either remake a decision or make a new decision. And you're like,
Hmm.
it's almost like one might have a decision fatigue after a while or
No,
burnout or
definitely.
whatever.
Yes. Yes,
Well,
definitely. It does.
one
Yeah.
of the most common things that my clients say is that I don't have a choice. And when
Hmm.
you hear that phrase in coaching conversations, what do you listen for first?
Well, I remind myself to be really curious
Hmm.
because when they say that, it's really like a to me it's like the bat signal. You know, I don't have a choice. It's like, okay, this we really need to pay attention. And there are several different things that I listen for. And one is it what's the real constraint? Because
Mm,
we can't just cover up that there are real constraints in life, that there are financial constraints, there are relational constraints, and there are systemic constraints.
mm,
And acknowledging those is important because you don't want to shift the client too quickly from acceptance of their situation to what are we going to do about it. Secondly, I look for and probe. curiously about what are the assumptions, right?
Oh,
What's
yeah.
the mindset underneath? Um, because if you feel really stuck, there are assumptions underlying that, whether it's that the consequences of the choice are things that you don't want to live with, or that other people might not accept it. What is it? What's that assumption? And then, of course, what I think is probably the most transformative is what are the values
Mm,
that are underneath this? What is really important to this person? And I think that values piece is what allows us to unlock the agency.
yeah. Well, and that's what we're going for, is that they have agency in the matter at hand, whether it be the big decision or smaller decisions.
Hmm.
I'll point our listeners to, you reminded when you said values, you put a wonderful part, a sidebar in the article, Five Doorways into Empowered Choice. And one of those is the values door, like you
Hmm.
just mentioned. So thank you for that reminder. And I love to say all the time, you always have the power of choice.
Exactly.
Nobody says it has to be a big choice, but you always have some sort of choice. So it could be the awareness around your values, the understanding of what your limitations are, what your mindset is. Those can be choices too, along with the awareness, is looking for the clues.
Definitely. And that brings up also that sometimes clients think that they need to make the perfect decision, and
Ah,
the decision is between one thing or another, right?
yeah,
So
yeah.
then it's sort of our job, or our ability, really, our capacity to help them see that choice is not a binary. It's not this thing or that thing, but it is really a spectrum made up of little choices along the way.
Yeah.
And that opens up possibilities, particularly for people who are overwhelmed. If they can see that that choice can be, a spectrum, and it can be an experiment. You can try things out. You don't need to be committed to, well, I hate my job, I'm going to leave. There are many, many other possibilities. You can explore other jobs. You can, work with ways to make your job better, in all different ways. You can expand your skills so that you can do something else. But it's not just, I'm just going to leave because I hate my job,
Yeah,
or
right.
I'm going to do nothing because I can't. I'm stuck here.
Yeah.
There's a wealth of possible things that you can try out between
Yeah.
those two.
It's not just one or the other. It's not just the yes version or the no version. You remind me of my training 25 years ago now,
Mhm.
with the Wheel of Life. And what that offered was options or possibilities of realms to work in, not necessarily different choices, but in a
Mhm.
sense, it was 8 or 10 choices. Where would you like to work now? But it's only after reflection and some thought around what's most important.
Right.
And
It
and the name choice for me, my recollection was that choice came after reviewing a whole bunch of possibilities, right?
exactly.
So
You need a buffet of possible actions, and
yeah,
so that you can exercise your choice
yes,
in the way that is most useful, you
yeah.
know.
Well, and another point you made in the article is that choices don't have to be permanent decisions. That goes back to
Exactly.
the conversation about experiments. How does that
Mhm.
shift the way clients approach difficult decisions, knowing that this not doesn't have to be permanent?
Well, a lot of clients are want the perfect thing, right? They think that a choice is a one and done deal.
Mm.
I make this choice to keep with the to
Welcome to
keep
the New
with
World
the
Order.
right, to keep with the job analogy. It's like I leave this job, it's over and done.
Right.
But it isn't really. So when you make sure that you give them or help them see that choices really are opportunities to try things out and to get learning from those things, to get data. How you do with that, um, it opens up because then they're not feeling fearing failure, which
Right.
is or feeling stuck. Like if I make the wrong decision, everything is going to fall apart and people will hate me and I'll be homeless and I won't have anything and no, it's like just what is the smallest single thing that you can try to test out whether this choice is a good thing for you?
Yeah.
And and it also makes them more creative
Mm.
because then they're looking at the little things that make up the big choice
Good
and
point.
seeing, okay, I might not be ready to do the leap because I'm still too afraid, or
Yeah.
I still don't, I want it to be perfect, but I can try this smaller thing. I
Mm.
can try, for example, to update my LinkedIn if it's a job thing, or to take a class if I'm, want to make a hobby my um my job, that
Yeah.
sort of thing.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I love that, breaking it down into pieces and testing it. And some of the choices can be just reflective things, like I choose to stop and
Mhm.
reflect or to work out what that might look like in the long run, right?
Yes.
What are the outcomes of the different possibilities is also a choice.
And sometimes the experiment is just to sit with the idea or the image that you have of what that choice will pan out to, and pay attention to what your body is telling you.
Mm,
Because a lot of the times our clients are very stuck in their heads. And this is one thing that my transformational coaching training program really stressed is like see where the client is, meet them there, but help them shift different domains. So
right.
if they're stuck in their head, help them feel their body. If they're really reactive and just all in their emotions, then help them think about it logically. And that has stuck with me. And I
Hmm.
think experiments are a good way of getting them to explore these areas that might not come to them the most naturally.
That's a good point. Yeah. Um, what about clients look back at past choices with regret? What happens when someone moves from I chose wrong to I learned something important about myself? Uh, Tell me more about that scenario.
So a lot of the times, people get stuck in, I just made this horrible decision and it turned out so badly, and now I'm stuck with it, and I don't want to choose anything else because what if I mess up again?
Yeah.
Right? They're just like that's where they are, and they can't see anything else. And then the conversation for me is I'm always curious about what led them to choose that in the first place. So that's something that I actually sometimes ask about. It's like what what knowledge did you have at that time to make that choice so
Yeah.
that they understand that hindsight is 2020, but
Yeah.
you make choices with the knowledge that you have at the time that you make the choice
Mm,
you know and so sometimes that opens up so they can see better that at the time they made the best decision they could. That's one
yeah.
way. Another way is you know to affirm, well, this you now see this as a bad decision, but that decision then can teach you
Hmm.
because it's sort of like the Buddhist thing of don't waste the suffering.
Yeah.
So don't waste a bad decision. What can this decision teach you? And what is it trying to tell you about yourself, about the situation, about how you make decisions,
Yeah.
and then about what you value so that they can let go of the judgment
Hmm.
and use the decision as a teacher. And that also opens up their ability to make decisions in the future. You're less scared if you think, if you don't fear that judgment.
Well, I will quote you from your article. A past choice is not a verdict, it's a teacher. And for our listeners, I was just recording a podcast with another author, Kim DeYoung, where there was an example of someone who dug back into their past during the coaching to reveal that they were not making decisions because of a bad decision. Wasn't even directly related, but it was a decision that's obviously stuck in the back of her mind and held
Mhm.
held her from making a decision in the here and now. So I thought
Yeah,
that was kind of
you're held hostage basically
you're
to
holding
your.
yourself hostage.
Mhm. Mhm.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I know
So
that's
that's part of what we help clients do. Notice when those things are holding them back and help them to make friends with it and then be able to release it.
make friends with it. I like that. I like that.
Yeah, I'm a lot about acceptance. So,
Yeah.
accept that you made a decision that didn't turn out well.
Yeah.
You know, not the end of the world, and it can open up um, empathy. It can open up wisdom, um, and compassion. You know, and all those are good things to bring into the world.
Yeah,
And
no
it all
kidding.
starts with us.
Well, one of the great things again about coaching, I know we're speaking to the to the
Choir.
but is that, and I'm learning this too from reading The Chaos Issue, how we come to the conversation has a big impact on how the client works from our energy, from our groundedness, and how important
Hmm.
it is for us to come to our calls clear, ready, calm, and grounded. And I'm
Yes.
reading that sense from you and from the article as well.
Mhm. Yes, I really strongly believe that coaching is relational. That, and I'm thinking about this as I'm working on an article for the presence issue. Thinking about, you know, a lot of the times we think it's the coach, how the coach shows up, that determines what happens in the coaching session. But that's just part of it.
Yeah.
We co-regulate with the client, and
Oh, yes. Good word.
particularly, yes, and particularly when clients are talking about decisions that they've made, we need to be really aware of whether that's triggering on us judgments about our own decisions, and to make sure to stop and remind ourselves that um, decisions really are um, not permanent,
Hmm.
and that they teach us about ourselves and each other. But just to stop and know that when a client brings something up that is upsetting to us, particularly, the chaos that's going
Right.
on around in the world, if it triggers us, then we are going into our own stuff and we're less present for them. So
Yeah.
it's doing the work of understanding what those triggers are and how you're going to manage when inevitably, because it doesn't matter who you are, it doesn't matter how many years you've done, it doesn't matter, there will be a time when you're triggered in a session. And what do you do to notice and to help yourself sort of step off the ledge and
Yeah.
back
Come back.
down,
Yeah.
you know. Yes, so that you can be there for the client and help them regulate and help them step down from the ledge as well,
Yes.
you
How many
know.
times I've been in a coaching conversation and all of a sudden they say something and it'll be like, well, that's just like me. And I'm no, 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 no. And it's like, okay, back, come on back, come on back.
Yes.
They,
And
our clients have lives that are not dissimilar to ours in a lot of circumstances, or our
mhm,
desires, or, dreams. So, and we're such dreamers and learners and that sort of thing that, yeah, we could easily get hooked into a conversation. So, good pointing.
mhm.
Get grounded and come on back.
Yeah, particularly when a client is talking about a a difficult subject or something that sparked in them from the news or something. And then you also get flooded with what you know from the news. And then you can go into that space where you might with a friend be like, oh my God, yes, this is horrible. But that's not the coaching space is not the place for that.
Yeah.
So it's, being kind to yourself and saying, okay, yeah, I recognize the impulse to do that.
Yeah.
But, what does this mean for the client? And why, you know, be curious about why the client is bringing it up.
Yeah.
What is it that they need from you in that moment.
Right.
And then if you still need to at the end, then you can call your own friend and sort of, you know, dump on them.
Yeah, right.
Because
You save your time
yes,
for others. But you're right. There are times when the client just needs to vent and be heard. I mean, some, not all, but I can remember some of my best coaching was unknown to me. I'll say at the end, so what are you leaving with today? And they're like, oh my gosh, Gary, this was the most amazing conversation ever. If I got two words in during the whole session, I was lucky. And that's just what they needed. They needed that non-judgmental, confidential, safe space to
mhm,
just blurt it all out, get it all out of their system. And that might be another, is that one of your doorways? Let me
yeah,
see. Values,
awareness and
awareness.
reflection. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Awareness and
yeah,
reflection, right? Yeah.
yeah. But you ask them, what are you leaving with? One of my sort of signature questions is, what are you more aware of now at the end of our conversation today than you were at the beginning?
Oh, good one.
And I am almost always surprised.
I know. You think you know what they're going to say, and those darn clients come up with something entirely different that blows you away. And yeah, love my
Yeah.
clients. Love, 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 love. Love what I do, love my clients, love my job, but it's not a job, so I can't retire. And I won't.
It's a vocation,
Vocation, a calling.
a
Gary,
calling. Yeah.
Gary, come coach me.
No, and in times of chaos and in times of uncertainty, particularly, you know, what do we do? Well, we coaches show up,
Hmm. Yep.
and that's important.
Yeah.
You know, can I stop the war? No, but I can show up and I can support people living their lives so that they're more resourced so that they can take the small actions needed to make better choices for our countries and our world,
Yeah.
you know?
I'm going to quote you the last lines of your article. When clients begin to trust their compass, they reclaim voice, alignment, and belonging to themselves. And in that reclamation, coaching becomes not just about solving problems, but about restoring confidence in the human capacity to live with intention.
And I
Beautiful.
believe that.
I bet you do. I'll bet you do. Gloria, anything else you'd like to say that you couldn't get into the article? Going once, going twice?
Yes, actually, yes. I made a sidebar about coaches to reflect on their own choices, and that obviously didn't make it because of space
Size and
constraint. Yes. So what I made um, for listeners, basically, it's like a little workbook that expands on that idea. So it takes coaches through the dimensions of making choices
oh,
and to think about their practice and helps them um, sort of see choices as experiments themselves.
awesome.
So yes,
Thank
so
you.
that's
Wow, what a good reclamation and return to getting it in there. Love it. And that's available with this recording. So just click in
yes.
the box below and you can grab that. Thank you so much for making that work. What's the best way for people to reach you?
So people can reach me through my LinkedIn, which is Gloria Custodio, and through our website, The Social Leadership Coach. And there we have all sorts of goodies, and you can just connect and build a better world.
And that we would happen to be your sister?
My sister, yes, we are partners. We are the social leadership coach. We are the coaching sisters. It's funny, that's how we're known in Puerto Rico in the ICF. My sister was in the education board in ICF, and so she's a master coach. And now we work together since I retired from school administration.
Right.
And so now our project is basically to do what we can to make the world kinder, more compassionate, and particularly more joyous. So
Oh, love it. Love it.
that's where you can find that project at the Social Leadership Coach. Yes.
When you can also read your sister's article in this issue, the final say,
Yes.
the last words in there. So thanks to you and to her for contributing to Choice and making our coaching world a better place. Thank you.
And thank you, Gary, because we love the magazine, by the way. It's always useful. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. I like to think so. I always choose things that
Hmm.
are useful for me and hopefully for others. So
Hmm.
when I hear that,
Yes.
that makes my heart sing. Thank you.
Yeah. I always point people to it. So,
Awesome. That's it for this episode of Beyond the Page. For more episodes, subscribe via your favorite podcast app, most likely the one that got you here. If you're not a subscriber to Choice Magazine and you're watching this video, you can sign up for your free digital issue by scanning the QR code in the top right corner of my screen. If you are listening and now in a safe space, you can go to choice-online.com and click the Sign Up Now button. I'm Gary Schleifer. Enjoy the journey of mastery.